Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kesmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Government says it hopes to rake in up to 6 billion cedis annually from the newly approved energy sector levy amendment bill to support liquid fuel procurement and servicing of energy sector debt. We'll bring you some more. There's also withdrawal of OPD services by members of Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association pushes healthcare delivery to the limit as many hospitals struggle to cope with the labor action. Also on the program this afternoon, Minority Leader Alexander Apenyo-Marking is currently leading MPs from his caucus on a march to police headquarters to petition the IGP over delayed recollation of Ablekuma North parliamentary result. We have the details for you. Much later, Ghana Importers and Exporters Association renews demand for the immediate termination of the controversial Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited SMS deal. Very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, Ghanaians will soon pay at least 1 Ghana cedi more per litre of fuel after Parliament passed the controversial Energy Sector Levy Amendment Bill 2025 late last night. The government insists this levy is critical to tackling Ghana's crippling energy sector debt, now at $3.1 billion as of March 2025. Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atoforsin warned that $3.7 billion is needed to clear the debt fully, with an extra $1.2 billion required for 2025 thermal fuel purchases. The debate turned fiery, with the minority staging a walkout, accusing the majority of pushing a hypocritical tax after repealing the e-levy. The majority, however, framed it as quote-unquote a necessary sacrifice to end doomsday. And we'll bring you what exactly transpired in Parliament. But ahead of that, the managing partner at Arthur Energy Africa, Jabesh Amisartha, describes the 1 cedi levy as creative but inevitable step. He spoke to me earlier on TV3's Agenda show last night.
I think that it is clear that this debt was not going to go anywhere until we as Ghanaians accepted to pay it off. And I am pleasantly surprised that the finance minister has found this creative way of solving the problem, because for how long can we maintain it? So part of the thing is that we as Ghanaians have to accept certain things. That if however we manage the sector, we generate a debt like this, either we will have to pay it ourselves, or our children or our children's children will have to come and pay it. And so next time we are accumulating such debts, we must bear some of this in mind.
And you had the managing partner at Arthur Energy Africa, Jabesh, and Mr. Arthur. Also on agenda last night was energy analyst Kwame Jantua, who acknowledged that there are limited options given the legacy debt. Listen to exactly what he said as well.
When you come to the finance minister's suggestion on 1 cedi on fuel, that has got to do with the economy. The moment the cedi depreciates, it's going to affect it. So the economy has to be run in such a way that the cedi can stay strong with regards to the other currencies. If that doesn't happen, then we are in for a big challenge. For me, we are between a rock and a hard place. When you look at the debt that Roxanne talked about, 1.7 billion, 2 billion deficit every month, 80 billion deficit, that's about $3 billion. How are we going to pay this? How? Tell me how. And the moment the energy sector comes to a standstill, the country is gone. We cannot afford it. So I reckon that we have to be able to sacrifice. However, it is up to the politicians to use the money judiciously.
And you had the energy analyst Kwame Jantua speaking to me earlier on Agenda on TV3 last night. And let's bring you some more on this new levy introduced by the government, which will require you to pay 1 Ghana cedi on every fuel that you purchase. We'll bring you that later, but the Africa Sustainable Energy Center, ASEC, is slamming the levy as short-sighted, targeting citizens instead of fixing structural flaws like gas supply, ECG inefficiencies, and opaque levy usage. ASEC warns that the measure, if implemented, will have long-term implications on inflation, transportation, commodity prices, and overall cost of living. Let's speak to Dr. Elvis Chumesi, Director of Research with ASEC. Good evening to you. Good afternoon to you, Doc. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me as well.
I know last night you made some points about the 1 Ghana cedi, but again, you're describing it as a short-sighted one. Just tell us more about why you have this opinion on the levy.
Yes, so we believe that the government needs to tackle the issue from the roots instead of trying to look at the symptoms to address. One thing is that we are having huge debt in the energy sector, and we should find ways of resolving it first before we think of any form of taxes. Now we already have about 40% of our taxes coming out from taxations and levies when it comes to our fuel, and we already have the energy sector recovery levy, which is about 20 pesos per liter, and suddenly we are here to come to terms with another $1, which I think the finance minister is saying that he's going to make sure that the dollar rate is low so that we will not feel the impact of this. But one thing that I think we have been speaking of over the time is that fuel is a necessary commodity for almost everybody, and the reason why prices of things are not going down is just because of fuel prices, because the tomato seller would have to take transportation before he brings his things to the market, and when that happens, he adds on all those prices to the things. So if we are adding additional one Ghana cedis to fuel, this is going to create hardship in the country, and it's going to increase the cost of living is actually going to be high. Inflation is so the purpose and then the role that the finance minister and the government have done in terms of reducing the dollar, which we are all happy for what is happening. They are actually going to destroy it by adding this 1 Ghana cedis to it. Our main issue is that there's inefficiencies in ECG. We are having debt of 80 billion Ghana cedis, and I think the energy minister one time said that if we don't curb this issue, every month we are actually going to accrue about $70 million every month. So as we delay in trying to solve the energy sector problem, and try to find different ways of getting money to address the issue, we will still be incurring debt. So we believe that the issues of inefficiencies in ECG need to be addressed before we can even think of any form of taxes.
Fantastic point you make, but the question again, of course, deal with the root issues regarding the energy or power sector, but you understand that sometimes it takes a bit longer in order to deal with the issues adequately as much as you want. So in the interim, what alternatives are available beyond the one CD that you don't necessarily agree with?
So in the interim, I think we have been discussing this privatization agenda. It's something we need to start now, because one thing that we believe that this kind of privatization is going to bring us is private sector investment. There's going to be an investment from the private sector who is coming in, and we'll get some little finances to start addressing some issues. But if we want to transfer it onto other ways of gathering money from the people of Ghana to address the inefficiencies, then that's what is going to be an issue. Because the private sector is actually going to introduce, no private sector will sit there for people to owe him for 10 years. People are not paying bills. Industries, people are using cold stores, they are not paying. Some people, over 10 years, they've not paid any bill. You can have somebody in a single room owing about 10,000 Ghana cedis in a single room. What it means is that over 15 years, that person has not been paying bill. And one thing is that, are you aware that even most of the bills people received on their postpaid, they are estimated prices. People, they don't even know the exact amount of energy that people are using on their meters. They estimate their bill for them, and then the people come and pay. Then later they will try and come and check. And then you see, all these inefficiencies are there that we can use to gather money to resolve the issue. So we need to tackle the bottom of the issue, because right now, as it stands, if we ask ECG to give us the number of customers they have and where their meters are, we will not be able to find it. From PwC's audit of ECG, they have about 21 different metering systems, right? And some of their systems, PwC was not able to find out how much money goes into them, right? And then they give us aggregated prices and all that. And you see, all the money is in the system, and we can get all this money back to solve the issue that we have now. And we think that the government cannot do that now, and the private sector will not sit down for all these things to be happening.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you so much, Dr. Elvis Chumesi, Director of Research, ASEC. I told you earlier that the minority has staged a walkout of Parliament. Well, I'm sorry, we just missed that, but we'll be going to the streets where the minority has staged a second walkout in protest against what is happening. But when we come back, we'll try and bring you update on that, as well as that strike declared by the Nurses and Midwives Association. Don't go away.
Ghana, it's a new year and Bills Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
Freezer, yeah, diaba. Adama for diaba. Hey, freezer. Adama. Akwa semenhia Adama metemoso ma sorry kanino obobo mu ase a adwo frefre no bia mienu miensa na se nan atele wotimi di apase Adama fo adwena kuafo ho ahu se ye de aduro ba kope e be chifu ye bia high technology akofo freezer ba wenku a eno anto benya 15 liters ni wa hwiegum watia no hwiegum o de basia fu ye bia ni wa basia bio ekoti se obetimo no nemu ye sure say o mention tasie nemu asena for na no freezer umpa we na apade freezer
basia ebe so do so ama amoni age
omutina me was sika omutina me didn't mean that do some do Adama without Adama no kuya Adama you can't resist
Ubenya Adama West Africa for edwe bi wo baby biara ye ton kra ye ho edwu afi kayo na kenkan enchoya ewo edre ho
15 minutes past the hour of 12. This is the midday news on 3FM 92.7. Now, striking nurses and midwives have withdrawn all emergency services from today, June 4, in a dramatic escalation of the industrial action. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association has directed members to stay off work, halting OPDs, antenatal care and specialist clinics nationwide. This follows a year-long delay in implementing the 2024 collective agreement. The industrial action has left patients stranded across the country. Meanwhile, Employment and Labour Relations Minister Dr. Rashid Pelpo has appealed to the striking nurses to halt the ongoing strike whilst promising to resolve the issues through constructive dialogue. He met with key members of the leadership of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association on the sidelines of the ongoing 113th International Labour Conference in Geneva. Let's cross over now to Godwin Asidiba, who has visited some hospitals. He's got some details for us. Godwin, what did you observe from your monitoring?
More like a mixed feeling to a number of patients who have been visiting some of the government health facilities today. I've been to the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. I've been to the Greater Accra Regional Hospital as Rich, which is Rich, and Kolebu as well. At the moment, I am at the Madabraka Polyclinic, where the situation here is even quite worse because the OPD area, where you would find a number of nurses and patients around, looking very busy on a regular day, virtually looks abandoned with no nurse on site. Patients who have come hoping that they will be able to see the nurses for some of their vitals to be taken have been unable to do so because no one is here to aid them do that. What really touched me most was a pregnant woman who is already on her 9th month who came here saying that she has been battling stomach pain severely since last night, was told to return home because there was no nurse here to attend to her. And it's really disheartening, and those are just one of the few challenges that most of the patients are facing here. But I was able to interact with the regional chairman of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, which is Jefferson Asare Dankwa, who made mention of the fact that if their conditions of service are not resolved, there's no way they are going to return to work as soon as possible because this is something they have been hinting on for a very long time. So if at this point they've been able to go on strike relating the same issue that they have been going on strike on, then it means this particular one is going to delay a little until they see some changes or a promise that could possibly be aiming at resolving their conditions of service before they will be convinced to start the work again. He has also been moving through the hospitals. He has been to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, and as of the time we're done speaking, he was heading to Rage as well. This is to ensure that no nurse will be opposed to work and for their voices to be heard as well.
Thank you very much, Godwin Asidiba. He's a health reporter. Let's cross over to Ashanti region. Ibrahim Abubakar is standing by for us. Ibrahim, are the nurses indeed on strike, as we heard their leadership instruct them to do?
Well, Beatrice, the situation is not different from what Godwin reported in Accra. Here in the Ashanti region, I've also visited the Central Government Hospital, the Menchia Hospital, the Kumasi South, which is the regional hospital, and also even the Konfanoti Teaching Hospital. And patients are stranded. In fact, some have even begun to left because management have decided to announce to some of them to move to other private hospitals to seek for care. For now, there are doctors at post, so they are trying to take the vitals and do so many things at a time. So it is kind of delaying the waiting time. Already people spend a lot of time going to the hospital. Now, if you are even supposed to spend 30 minutes, it will go beyond 1 hour. And others are not even being attended to at all. There was a woman I met, she had to be put on oxygen, put back in a vehicle, and rushed to another private hospital because the nurses were not there to attend to her. Initially, the medical superintendent were saying They have been given the notification that the strike will begin today, but they were not aware that emergency services will be included, and they are hoping that within the next couple of days, these nurses return so that the situation doesn't escalate.
And I know one of the biggest hospitals we have in the country is the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. Have you received any report of any casualty even within these few hours of this industrial action?
Well, for now, no, but patients, like I said, are facing or bearing the brunt of the action. But, because we have some category of nurses at Konfanochi who are not part of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, they are there working, and they've tried to improvise. They have other additional staff who are also doing, and also other doctors have taken the duties of nurses to also do. But in all, even if patients will be attended to, then they have to spend more hours at the hospital. But still others are also being turned away to move to other private facilities for healthcare services.
Thank you very much, Ibrahima Bubakar. He's Ashanti regional correspondent, and he mentioned some patients he encountered. Let's listen to some of them when he spoke to them earlier.
As you can see, almost say almost on strike. Normally, nurses are on strike, so I'm on general. So I have to take her to another facility to see whether they can take it or not. So I don't know what will happen. It's very painful, but as you can see, she's on oxygen now. So what should I do? I don't know what to do.
Since morning, I have saying,
the government has to do something about resolving the issue. You heard that woman there, a patient at the one of the hospitals Ibrahim Abubakar visited earlier today. Let's speak to David Tinkwan Chumesi. He's joining us live via video call from Geneva. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us once again.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers.
I know yesterday we spoke, you were quite upset about the utterance of the public relations officer of the health ministry. You didn't think that he addressed your issues. Fortunately, you have with you the Employment and Labor Relations Minister, Dr. Rashid Pelpo, in Geneva with you. He's appealed to you. Are you going to heed his appeals?
All right, well, thank you. We met him yesterday. He wanted to understand exactly the nuances of our challenges.
To enable the Electoral Commission to complete.
Can I go ahead?
The coalition.
I'm sorry, there's a technical challenge there. I'm so sorry for that interruption. Please go ahead.
All right, so we met him. He called us, and we had a healthy conversation with him. You could see a man who is matured. He's been in this game for a very long time. He appealed to us to rescind our decision. But after we explained the issues to him, he understood it. We had a point, and he promised to intervene, to call Dr. Atufos and the sector minister to see how best he could intervene to resolve the issues. I must say that the discussion was fruitful, but obviously it fell short of our demands. We were very exact in our demands. That's not to say that we have taken an entrenched position or intransigent position, but of course, if you look at the belligerent position of the ministry, it tells you that we need to push harder. And we said, yes, we will still keep to our roadmap, but we'll give him the opportunity to intervene as he alluded to. But as I said, his plea fell short of our demands, and therefore, Luta continua.
Luta continua, you say. What about emergency services, at least? Just because the minister said that he was hoping for a fruitful, cordial dialogue, as it were. Would you want to at least attend to emergency services whilst this dialogue continues?
You know that we gave a very elastic roadmap to give the sector minister and the minister for finance the opportunity to do what they are supposed to do. My dear sister, I just want the people of Ghana to know that it is not something that we are going to sit down to renegotiate. I'm saying that we have gone past that stage. We have already negotiated a condition of service, sealed and signed. Let me bring this to your attention. Do you know that in 2016, our condition of service was not implemented? Similarly, the current Minister for Finance was the Deputy Minister under Mr. Setekpe. So we are pained by his attitude towards nursing and midwifery practice and the fact that they don't consider that our work is essential. It's unfortunate, okay? And my heart bleeds because I thought that we're not going to get here. You know, the Ghanaians are not a target. Even the government is not a target. We are dealing with the employer. And I said earlier on, we don't care about which government is in power. We're dealing with employer. Employer remains the same. And therefore, we think that they will do the needful. All what we are asking is a very simple thing. They should just approve the document, and then we can sit down to look at the implementation. And I think that is a very simple ask that they can meet.
Your point well noted, but you're not even concerned that even in these few hours, you could have people dying, including pregnant women?
It's a terrible thing. I will urge all Ghanaians to look for other private hospitals that can provide such services. It's unfortunate. They should turn their attention to government, and the employer should do the needful. And we are ready to come back. Even if they sign the document, the next ad, we call it the strike action.
We'll end it here. Thank you very much, David Tinkran Chumesi. He is in Geneva and he's the General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association of Ghana. Now, the Ghana Importers and Exporters Association is also demanding the immediate termination of the controversial contract between the government and Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited, SML, describing it as a blatant violation of transparency, accountability, and value for money. Addressing the press, the association issued 5 key demands to President John Mahama and relevant state agencies, urging swift action to safeguard public funds and restore trust in Ghana's governance and procurement systems.
Ladies and gentlemen, our demands to the President of the Republic of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama. We have a demand. 1. The Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana hereby makes the following 5 demands President Mahama and the current government. And of course, I'm sure the Minister of Energy and Green Transition should be interested in this contract. 1. To terminate the SML downstream petroleum contract with immediate effect because MPA has their own system. 2. In addition, the fully published KPMG audit report make public all payments made to SML since 2018. One year to publish it. Let us all see how much they paid. 3. Recover all monies paid for services deemed redundant because we are told that MPA has their own system. And I guess highlighted that one here. Recover all monies paid to services deemed redundant, unverified, and unsupported by performance data. 4. President Mahama should let Minister of Energy, Minister of Finance, GRA, MPA, they should blacklist SML and investigate all current and former officials involved in the contract.
And you have a representative of the Importers and Exporters Association giving those details to President Mahama as well as some state agencies to cancel the SML deal in the interest of the state. And before we go, the minority leader has been leading MPs on their side to petition the police hierarchy on the delayed recollation of Ablekuma North parliamentary results. Remember that the Ablekuma North remains the only constituency which results remain outstanding. There have been several attempts to recollate the results without success, and we're showing you a video of the Minority Chief Whip Frank Anodompre at the police headquarters addressing the media as well and expressing their concerns, surrounded by some police officers, even as he states the reason for the minority being there. Let's cross over to Crosby, Noble Crosby Annan, my colleague who's been with the minority team. Crosby, what can you tell us?
Right, which is what happened today. The minority in Parliament, they today walked from Parliament to the police headquarters and they came to present a petition to the police headquarters. What they're demanding is that the police service provides adequate security for the collation of the Ablekuma North parliamentary election results. Now we know that there are some outstanding polling stations in the Ablekuma North constituency that is yet to be collated. Hence, constituents still do not have a representative in Parliament months after the 2024 general elections. They demanded that the police provides them security, provides the election officials security so that the coalition can finally happen for residents in the constituency to be represented in Parliament, Beatrice.
Thank you very much, Noble Crosby-Annan, currently with a minority as they petitioned the Inspector General of Police on the issues, particularly Ablekuma North constituency, the recollation of the results there. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Log on to srinews.com for more news.
Follow us on social media, Twitter at 3FM927, Facebook at 3FM927, and also on 3news.com.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up this afternoon, inflation drops sharply to 18.4% in May 2025, lowest decline since February 2022. We'll hear from government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu.
It's actually influenced by food inflation of 22.8% and non-food inflation of 14.4%, down from 17.9% in April 2025.
Also ahead, Ghana drops 11 places in Africa's fuel price ranking despite 9% palm price cuts and 40% CD gain. We'll bring you details as research firm globalpetrolprices.com raises concerns over possible hidden taxes. Meanwhile, Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies warns of fuel price hike as Finance Minister proposes 1 cedi energy sector levy to address industry debt. We'll hear from President of the Chamber, Dr. Rivasinopon.
As though it's not enough, we are being slashed by an incremental tariff on petrol, diesel, and even LPG, and that's alarming.
I am Bismarck. I'll start these stories and others lined up for you. Please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the very first story. Ghana's year-on-year inflation rate has decreased to 18.4% in May 2025, down from 21.2% in April 2025. According to the latest data from the Ghana Statistical Service, transport and fuel costs contributed hugely to the dip in inflation. Government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu said the decline suggests a continuous easing of price pressures, potentially influenced by monetary policies or changes in global commodity prices.
And this May 2025 inflation is actually influenced by food inflation of 22.8%, down from 25% in April 2025, and non-food inflation of 14.4%, down from 17.9% in April 2025. In addition, the 18.4% year-on-year inflation is also influenced by inflation on locally produced items of 19.2%, down from 22.7% in April 2025, and inflation on imported items of 16.4%, down from 17.7% in April 2025. On month-on-month basis, the 0.7% inflation recorded in May from April 2025, or in relation to April 2025, was also influenced by food inflation of 0.9%, which was maintained from the April food inflation of 0.9%.
And that was government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu. Now, despite recent reductions in petroleum prices and a stronger cedi, Ghana has dropped 11 places on the list of African countries with the lowest fuel prices. GlobalPetrolPrices.com now ranks Ghana 31st in Africa and 109th globally, prompting fresh concerns about possible hidden taxes in the country's fuel pricing structure. The following 3 Business News Desk report has details. Despite a 9% reduction in petroleum prices and a nearly 40% gain in the value of the Ghana cedi against the US dollar, Ghana has dropped 11 places on the continental fuel price ranking. The latest report from GlobalPetrolPrices.com shows that Ghana now ranks 31st in Africa and 109th globally for petrol affordability, with a current average price of $1.4 per litre as of June 2025. This marks a sharp decline from 77th globally in May, when the average price was $1.2 per litre. Libya retained its top position in Africa and globally, with petrol selling at just 2.7 cents per litre, followed by Angola and Algeria. Other African countries with significantly cheaper prices include Egypt, Nigeria, and Sudan. The Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies attributes the recent drop in palm prices to the cedi's appreciation from 13 cedis 99 pesos to 12 cedis 15 pesos per dollar, offsetting global price hikes of finished petroleum products. However, analysts and consumers are questioning why Ghana's relative ranking worsened so drastically, raising suspicion of hidden taxes or inefficiencies in the fuel price build-up. And that was a 3 Business News Desk report on Ghana dropping 11 places in Africa's fuel price ranking despite 9% pound price cuts and 40% cedi gain. Meanwhile, the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, COMAC, has warned that the proposed 1 cedi increase in the Energy Sector Levy Amendment Bill will result in an additional cost of 25 pesos for consumers, totaling 1 cedi 25 pesos. Finance Minister Dr. Kasiala Tuforsen presented the bill in Parliament yesterday, aiming to address the unsustainable debt levels within the sector. But speaking to 3 Business, Chief Executive of COMAC, Dr. Riversinopon, stated that members would need additional credit facilities to pay upfront for the new levy if it is implemented, with the cost ultimately being passed on to the end consumer.
As though it's not enough, we are being slashed by an incremental tariff on petrol, diesel, and even LPG, and that's alarming. Looking at the poor LPG penetration rate in Ghana, and slashing another levy on it, consumption will surely go down. And believe me or not, market, it will happen. So we really expected a dialogue on this. We really expected the stakeholder engagement with the government to understand the impact of this decision that has been made or that has been passed by Parliament. You understand? Because it comes with additional cost of operations to the OMCs, and that is why we are in quote unquote crying loud. Okay. At this point, we're not even thinking about the consumers. We are thinking about the sector in total, because you realize that to collect 1 Ghana cedis extra for the government would demand an incremental, what we call the initial working capital of any OMC, because of the fact that most of our members do prepayment.
Chief Executive of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, Dr. Riversinopon, also spoke about the need for dialogue before the proposal of such a policy.
The petroleum price already saw a decline before the cedi stabilized or appreciated, in other words, because the benchmark price, which is an equally important figure in the petroleum pricing build-up, began to go down. Okay, it began to go down, stabilized for some time, and the last window we realized that it went up. So that means that in the next window, it will be 50-50 whether it goes up or it stabilizes normally. So let's not assume that the cedi is the only factor in determining the petroleum pump prices, and therefore certain decisions should be holistically taken. There are a lot of issues in the downstream sector that needs to be addressed, and to our shock and to our surprise, biggest surprise as a sector, we've not really sat down with the government to bring solutions to the problems that exist today in the downstream sector, only to be told another 1 cedi is being slashed on the energy sector.
And that was Dr. Riverson Opon, who is Chief Executive of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, COMAC. And that brings us to the end of Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. Thanks for your company.